shoulder sometimes.
Wow.
More my wife's pet than mine. So
Okay.
I prefer the furry ones that are running around outside right now.
Is it a boy or a girl?
I think it's a boy. I don't know. It's
ask.
my office buddy. He's become quite the star on webinars.
Well, I'm going to start the recording, and if you guys want to go ahead and get started, we can do that.
Absolutely. So just, do you want us to get started?
Well, we'll queue you guys up, and then we'll get rolling with some questions, and then we'd love to see the platform as well, and as we're going through some of this.
Yeah. So I guess from today's side, from our side, we'll kind of give you a very brief overview of what our technology does and the problems that it solves, and looking forward to getting into a really great discussion with everyone.
Excellent. We're looking forward to it too. So, hello, everyone. Good afternoon, or if you are our friends in Australia, good morning. This is Josh and Casey, and this is another episode of Remote R&D with Baker AV. First and foremost, we want to say that we hope that you're all staying safe and healthy, and we are definitely keeping those that have been affected by the coronavirus at the forefront of our thoughts. And just to reiterate, however we can help, we want to do that for you all. And we thank you for continuing on this learning journey with us.
So today we're blessed to be sitting here with Adam Gottlieb and David Borg, the founders of Teleportivity, which is the solution we're going to be discussing about today. They're going to show us a little bit how this solution allows us to scale support and concierge services and documentation remotely to end users with basically just a click or a simple scan of a QR code from their own device. So not only is this a valuable solution given the climate that we're dealing with right now, where we're having to limit interaction, but the need for virtual support, as most of us know, is more important than ever. So we'll dive in here, and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's our absolute pleasure, and we really love you guys at Baker, so really happy to be here. And just introducing myself, so Adam Gottlieb, and we've got David Borg as well. And the main aim that we will have in the first, say, 5 minutes is just to show everybody what our technology does and how it's relevant to today's times and how we can help you with that. And then we'll dive into some questions and answers, and hopefully we can get into some discussion. But before we kind of begin our presentation, I'll just share with you my screen here so everyone can see that. Can everyone see my screen right now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great.
So, before we show you what our technology does, I just want to make a distinction from what we do versus others. So we all know how much we use video, particularly right now during the global challenge that we're all faced with, to collaborate. So collaboration is a very, very strong component of why and how we're using video. And that's how these tools have been built. And today I'm going to be talking through with you some of the key ways that Teleportivity works. And it isn't about collaboration, actually, it's about deployment. So we've built our technology for you to be able to deploy your teams, to be able to deploy your staff on site or at a location in a very unique way. And the way that our technology has been built has been structured around that. And that's why you'll hopefully see a lot of relevance in about what we're trying to describe and explain to you. So we're all familiar with the huddle space, and everybody in the Pro AV segment is very familiar with how powerful the huddle space has been and continues to be for everybody across the globe in the way that they collaborate, in the way that we communicate. And now, I guess, in today's times, our huddle space is almost like our home. So it is a rapidly evolving space right now. And excitingly for Teleportivity, we're creating two very new spaces that fit into the huddle space or even your home space or the office space. We like to call it the support space. And you can see here on the left-hand side here, there's a plaque with a QR code and NFC, which stands for near field communication, combined with potentially even a web link. And imagine walking into a room or walking into a building or looking at a device being able to tap or scan that code with your own phone, so you don't need to touch anything. And as soon as you tap or scan that, you're instantly greeted with an app-like experience, but you don't actually need an app. Everything is through the phone's browser. You can access documentation, videos, forms, maps, web-based apps, all the way through to voice, video, or text communication. So every single one of these support space access points is uniquely configurable, and we'll show you how that works in a moment. Now, in today's times, we're actually, what you saw there before, we were attached to a meeting room. In today's times, a lot of our partners and clients are really focused on the concierge areas where you would traditionally touch a panel, or you would have some kind of physical contact, signing in with a pen or touching paper. Now you don't need to do that, because the support space is very instrumental in rapidly changing the way that you walk into a building. By tapping or scanning that code, you don't need to have frontline staff there for the time being. You can talk to someone through a live video consultation instantly using your device. And you can also sign into that building. You can fill in forms based on some of the procedures that you may have to go through to enter that premises. So there's a lot of use cases that you'll find are very relevant to today's circumstances. And we also have another technology which involves a physical screen in the form of a tablet device, where we refer to this as the welcome space. And you can see that there. It's a screen that you can install at the front of any location that has some very unique technology that applies to today's times specifically. And once again, I'll show you how that works in just a moment. So if we have to describe what Teleportivity is, everybody, we describe it as an instantly scalable on-site document and web app repository with a fully integrated video, voice, and text help desk. And our technology is very unique because it allows you to create a unique experience for every single access point. So imagine being able to connect every concierge desk, every room, every space, every place, every object to a unique experience that's just for that space. And that's the way that our technology works. So it ultimately connects you with the right information at the right place at the right time. And then, of course, the right people using the right communication channel at the right time. So just to really give you an understanding and to almost conclude the very short presentation, imagine having thousands of these unique access points in rooms, at concierge desks, in support areas that support is needed. And every single one of these support spaces can be uniquely remotely controllable. So if you want to change documentation instantly, you can do that, and anyone can do that. It doesn't need to be a technical person. It can be a concierge person. It can be an administration assistant. And they can change the documentation, the videos, the apps, the maps, anything that needs to be communicated at a site or across a series of sites or onto a device can be changed instantly and very effectively. And we like to kind of refer to this now as almost the app area of your room, or the app store to your space. So just like you have an iPhone that you buy and you have an app store on the iPhone, you have essentially an app-like experience that you can create for every room or every space or every object that you can continue to grow and you can continue to build upon. So if you walk into that room or that concierge area or that facility or that hospital or that college campus or that stadium, anyone with any particular use case, that's whether it be staff, whether it be visitors, can scan or tap that code and instantly be welcome to that room or that space, all the way through to receiving documentation, videos, anything that needs to help them with a fantastic self-help experience, all the way through to a live consultation to different groups that are connected to that space through voice, video, or text. So that's the way our support space access points work. Now, our welcome space points are different because they're fixed screens that are installed at the site or at the location. So you can literally either tap the screen, or you don't even need to tap it. Someone can jump straight into that screen without even needing to touch that screen. So I can support you as if I was behind that desk or sitting behind that desk, ready to help you. And we've patented a technology called jump screen technology. And what that allows you to do as a support team or as a concierge team is actually move with your client. So imagine if this was a hospital or a stadium or an educational institution. I can meet you at the front of the building, and then I can jump straight up to level 2 and I can meet you there. Or I can go to another building, or I can go to another city or another country. I can have support teams that can proactively or reactively deploy themselves into those screens on demand as if they've walked into those spaces. So much so, of course, to the point that I may meet you in a particular area and you jump into that screen. I can share different documents with you that you can interact with. But what happens if I need to take you with me? So if I'm at the screen and I need to show you a meeting room, or I need to show you a part of the building where you're not necessarily able to see because you're at that fixed screen endpoint, all the operator needs to do is click on a button which generates a code. I scan that code with my own phone, whether it be Android or iPhone, and within seconds, without any app needing to be installed, I jump straight from the screen to the device. So I can now go with that particular customer or staff member. They can flip the camera just like they would on a normal video call, show me the problem, and we can continue the interaction from their own device. So it's a very powerful way that you can ultimately deploy your staff, deploy your groups of people in ways that assist people, but of course you don't need to be physically there, and that's something that we'll discuss later on. And just to finish off, this just gives you an example of opportunities or clients that we're talking to right now and how we're transforming some of those experiences, whether it be a hospital. Imagine walking into a hospital and having hundreds of these access points that are unique to every room or every space that can help me with. It could be an event on at the hospital, or it could be a gathering where a PDF document's required. It could be a video that helps me with a new construction area or guiding me through a process in that particular area of the hospital, all the way through to forms that I fill in, maps that I can embed, and of course that video, voice, concierge-like experience. So that's really just trying to provide a general overview, everybody, of how our technology works, so we can all kind of understand the use case and where we uniquely fit in the video and the workplace workflow deployment space.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And you know, there's an organization called Biz Now, and yesterday they came out with an article on how commercial real estate brokers are using technology to perform building tours, but they're having to use something like FaceTime or Skype. But this is completely agnostic. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, what type of phone you have or what type of device you have. It doesn't matter if you have a Skype account. You can conduct that building tour, have somebody come in, scan a QR code, and you're instantly connected with a person, and you can conduct business as usual. And we've also seen some opportunity here, you know, for project management, municipalities, the MEP industry, job site inspectors, or even job site support. So this solution really makes it a lot easier to conduct business when you have to limit physical contact and practice social distancing.
Yeah, absolutely, Casey. So I guess, you know, from our side, the uniqueness of our technology is, as you said, it's agnostic, and it's all very much about, you know, what happens if I walk into an area or I need to connect with someone, but I don't know who they are, and I don't know how to connect. And at the same time, as an administrator of the system, how do I control who that person connects with? Which groups or which staff can have access on demand, and how that can be changed daily, hourly, instantly, remotely. So our technology is designed to be completely seamless. So as you kind of mentioned, I tap or I scan, and that's it. That's all I need to do. I don't need to download an app. I don't need to figure out how I connect with that single person. And if that person isn't available, the way our technology works is you can communicate like a PBX system, like a telephone system, where if you tap or you scan, you don't necessarily just go through to one person. You can connect with a team of people, and any one of those team members can then interact with that customer, that staff member, whoever's needing that assistance. So we've been designed to be able to deploy. We haven't designed to be that a kind of a meeting room experience. So we embrace all of the collaboration tools. We use them, whether it be any of the leading collaboration products on the market. That's not where we sit. We sit in a very, very different space that is unique. Hence why in today's times, when it comes to people not necessarily wanting to be at the front of a welcome area, or not wanting to have that contact particularly when you're on site or when you're at a location. That's where our technology becomes a lot more powerful.
Yeah, we're effectively solving different problems than what a traditional collaboration suite will do. So just think of those businesses, and we're not sure obviously what businesses that the audience or guests have, but certainly if you have a situation where you're trying to protect your frontline staff or enable them to connect with your customers anonymously, it's a great tool.
And that's how our tool has been built. So I'm sure everyone who understands how our technology works from a back-end perspective, we're very, very different, and our technology has been built to deploy, to manage. It hasn't been built in the way a traditional collaboration product has been built.
Definitely.
So I want to expound upon what you just touched on. So coming from the IT world, I understand it's always been an uphill battle for end users, right? They're in a panic, they have an issue, they need resolution. They know one person's phone number, so they go directly to them. They don't open a ticket, and they get stuck in this muddled mess. So you've kind of opened up the world here to allow not only the end user a better experience for trying to reach the correct team, but facilitating us as a team for us doing AV support. Expound a little bit upon how that could be escalated. So if an end user scans a QR or taps a screen, can you say how that could be escalated to, say, tier 1 to tier 2, et cetera, in that scenario?
Yeah, sure. So I guess, the good thing about our technology is you can actually connect different accounts together. So imagine if you had 2 or 3 different levels of support, and those support experiences are managed by different groups, essentially, who may not even communicate together. We can pool all of those groups together into a single experience to make it the best experience for the user. And that's really what it's about. So when it comes to AV support, what's quite interesting is that 80 to 90% of issues in an AV setting, in a meeting room, or when it comes to AV products, any issue that a user has, it's generally all about the user. It's a user issue. It's not actually a hardware issue. So everything works in the room, but it's the user who doesn't quite understand how to use it, or which adapter to use, or why that button should be pressed. And that generally is what is not often focused upon in the AV world. It's all about remote diagnostics, whereas what Teleportivity allows AV support and related support to be able to achieve is, how do we give the user the best experience when we walk into a meeting room? How do we make sure they have the best tools, the great content that they can access instantly on demand, that will resolve the top 10 issues that any end user will face in those spaces. Any organization will face often very similar issues repeatedly. So how do we give them the best experience to resolve those issues in a self-help type of way? And at the same time, how do we then connect them with the right people instantly? Because if they have that multi-million-dollar meeting, or if that college professor has a class full of 1,000 students in 10 minutes time, they don't really have the capacity to be able to do too much in that period of time. They need instant support, and they need it to be agnostic. They need it to be on their device, because the reality is they don't necessarily know how to use many of these other devices. We all know how to use a phone. We all know how to scan or tap, or worst case, just enter a basic web link into our browser. That's all you need to do to access our technology.
So you brought up another great point, is the documentation side. So a lot of times as an AV provider, we want to make sure the client knows how to troubleshoot minor things, or in most cases, how to use things. So we'll train them one-on-one, but obviously you're going to have new users that touch the equipment, whether they're the guest, whether they're a new employee, what have you. This allows us the ability to push out dynamically, not just something that could be taped to a table to say, unplug this or press this input, or et cetera. It allows us to have a dialogue with the client that's recordable, and like I said, dynamic as things change, as their needs change. So you brought up a great point that the documentation side, to me, is just as important as the video support side.
Yeah, absolutely there, Josh. I think the best support experience is one where I help myself. We all want to try and help ourselves quickly. We don't necessarily want to ring or contact. So how do you give your customer based on where they are? Remember, I want to access exactly the right self-help tools that I need based on the meeting room or based on where I am. And at the same time, if I need to then talk to someone, I can do that really quickly and seamlessly because I've tried myself. I know it doesn't work. And that's when we want to rely on a support team of some sort to help me via a number of communication methods. Now, it doesn't need to be video. It can be initially live text that moves to video, that moves to voice. You can change that around, or we have a quick visual. So we have a quick video call. You show me the problem that saves me 15 minutes trying to explain, hey, that flashing red button is on the side, it's not on the panel. And it saves that time that can be often confused when support's being provided. And then it just moves to text. And every single room or space can be customized uniquely. So remember that it isn't a generic experience for everyone at the same time. It's how do we really fine tune that support experience so we give the best support or the most support to those spaces and areas that we want to provide that support to. And then at the same time, other areas that we don't necessarily want to provide that level of support, how do we still give them enough to have a good support experience? And you can continue to change and evolve that as time goes by.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Does anyone in the audience have any questions for Adam or David? All right, I'm going to take that as a no.
I believe they're muted, but I think they can raise their hands, right?
Everyone should be unmuted on their own.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, thank you for joining us.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for having us today.
And thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys, and want to remind everybody to please stay home as much as you can and wash your hands. And most importantly, please be good to each other, because we're all struggling through our own battles right now, and doing the best that we can. If you would like, you can follow Baker Audiovisual on Facebook or LinkedIn at Baker Audiovisual and Twitter at Baker Audio. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.